This is a bilingual program. Carolina is going to speak in Spanish and I'm going to speak in English. And before we get into our session today, I wanted to ask, can anybody here tell us the name of our club, Coquí Club? Can anybody tell us what a coquí is?
Julia pregunta, ¿qué será un coquí? Porque nuestro club se llama el Club de Coquí. ¿Y qué es? Benjamin, can you tell us what is a coquí? What are you wearing on your head?
Go ahead, buddy.
Can you say that again, Benjamin? Loud and proud. What is a coquí? Is it, Benjamin, let me ask you. A frog. Muy bien, Benjamin.
Right. Benjamin and Caroline helped each other. A coquí is a rana, a frog. And you know how big the rana is? The frog is? It's the size of the tip of our thumb. And it lives on the beautiful tropical island of Puerto Rico.
Julia nos explica que el coquí es una rana diminuta, es tan pequeña que cabe en la punta de nuestro dedito y vive en la isla de Puerto Rico.
That's right. So we are going to start our Coquí Club like we always do by singing our Coquí song twice in English. And then at the end of our program, we will sing it once in Spanish. And the first time I'll sing it in English. And so anybody who's not familiar or doesn't remember the melody can listen. And the second time we'll unmute everyone and we'll sing it together.
Exacto. Siempre empezamos Coquí cantando nuestra canción. Julia nos la va a cantar una vez para que nos acordemos de la melodía. Luego la cantamos todos juntos en inglés. Y al final de la sesión volvemos a cantar todos juntos en español.
That's right. Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. The coquí so delights me. With its song I like going to sleep. Every night when I lie on my pillow, the coquí says good night from the tree. Coquí, 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 kiki, coquí. Coquí, coquí, kiki. So can we all sing it together now? Are we ready? On the count of 3? 1, 2, 3.
Sing.
The coquí so delights me.
Sing.
With its song I like going to sleep. Every night when I lie on my pillow, the coquí says good night from the tree. Coquí, 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 kiki, coquí, kiki. Wonderful. Muy bien. Wonderful. So today we are talking about story quilts. Does anybody here know the word quilt?
Hoy vamos a hablar de algo que llamamos quilts y realmente no hay una traducción tal cual al español. Es un tipo de cobija, algo para taparnos, pero es un tipo muy especial. Un quilt es algo muy especial. ¿Alguien sabe qué será un quilt?
Does anybody know? And if you don't know, that's okay, because we are going to tell you. So a quilt is a type, Carolina actually gave us a hint in Spanish. It can be put on your bed to keep you warm at night. It's like a cover, but also sometimes people use them to put them on walls to decorate. And what's so special about a quilt is that it takes a lot of people working together to make one. So I'll let Carolina speak and then we'll talk a little bit more about quilts.
Exacto, entonces un quilt es un tipo de textil que puede ser usado para tapar, para cubrir una cama, como un edredón. Se parecen a los edredones, pero también hay personas que los cuelgan a la pared, así como a veces colgamos tapetes en la pared porque son decorativos. Pero un quilt toma mucho tiempo hacerlo y por lo general mucha gente está involucrada en la producción de un solo quilt.
So a lot of people work together to make something beautiful. They come together and they make something beautiful that's lasting, means that they can have it for a long time. And that's also beautiful. And today we're going to learn about 3 kinds of quilts, and each one tells its own special story. So we're going to look at a quilt by an artist who is currently on view at El Museo del Barrio. And then we're going to read a story about a quilt. And then we have a special project that you all can make at home. So the next slide we're going to look at on your screen, I'm going to ask you all.
Traducir al español.
Ay, perdón, Carolina. I got so excited that I just went right through.
I know. I was like, I need to remember everything.
No.
Entonces, lo que estábamos diciendo es que lo importante de un quilt es que se trata de que mucha gente se reúna para crearlo juntos. Es como una historia. Y hoy vamos a aprender acerca de 3 quilts diferentes. El primero es el que ya estamos viendo, de un artista, de una exposición que está ahorita en el museo. Luego vamos a leer una historia sobre un quilt y luego les vamos a contar cómo ustedes pueden crear su propio quilt.
That's right. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do now is, can everybody look at we're going to look at that side in 1 minute. Right now we're looking at this work of art, and I'm going to ask everybody if they can tell me about a shape or about a color they see. Anything that you notice about this? Nothing, Benjamin? I see you shaking your head. Are you shaking your head about something else? Malu, do you see any colors on this, on your screen?
Yes, Malu, ¿qué colores ves?
That a birthday for my 5th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
¡Wow!
Wow.
Oh,
And a tortita.
Malu, that makes me very happy. What do you see in this image? ¿Qué ves?
Lemon.
You see flowers.
And brown.
And you see brown? Yep. Do you see the flowers in the color brown? You can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Thumbs up. Okay. We're on the right track. I see flowers also, and I see the color brown. Serena, do you see any particular colors? Do you notice any colors or shapes?
Serena, ¿qué ves?
Squares.
That's a clue. You see squares. You see one squares or lots of squares?
Lots of squares.
You see lots of squares.
Entonces, Malu nos dijo que podemos ver flores y flores encima de diferentes colores, como por ejemplo el café. Y Serena nos dice que ella ve cuadrados, muchos cuadrados, no solo uno, muchos.
Caroline and Benjamin, I saw your hands up. What did you want to tell us?
What do you see?
I can't talk.
Oh, okay.
Puppy's on, but I can't talk if I puppy's on.
Okay. We can hear you though.
You can hear you now. What colors did you say you see?
What color do you
see? You're the square.
You see squares?
Yeah.
Yeah. What colors do you see in the squares?
Orange.
You see orange?
Mm-hmm.
And Malu saw brown. Can we name 2 more colors? Benjamin, can you tell us a color?
Blue.
You see blue.
Benjamin, that's the color that I see too. Cuando yo miro aquí, lo primero que es azul. Muy bien. A ver, nuestra amiga Emma, ¿tú qué ves? Emma, what do you see? Can you click the blue button so that we can hear you? Oh, click it again. I think you muted yourself again. There you go. What do you see, Emma?
I see white.
You see white. And what, can I give you a clue? What color is your dress? Look at the color of your dress and then look at the artwork. Do you see any similarities in the color? Maybe pink?
Maybe. Emma dice que ve el color blanco. ¿Y sabes, Julia, qué me hace pensar eso? Nos habías contado que a veces los quilts están sobre una pared y no sobre un objeto. Y yo creo que este quilt está montado en una pared. ¿Tú qué piensas?
Carolina, you are right. So as I mentioned before, and Carolina reminded us, quilts can be used also for decoration on walls. And this is an artwork that's on the wall for decoration at the museum by a very young woman. Her name is Manuela González. And this is a quilt that she made. She took squares and she put them all together. And it reminds her of making quilts at home with her grandmother and her mother when she was younger.
That's very nice. Eso me gusta.
Yeah, and so she likes to work with what Carolina had said before in Spanish, textiles, which means fabric, which means cloth and linen, things that are made out of fabric. So this is a very fancy way of saying it's a quilt, it's textile art, and it's hanging at the museum. In the next slide, we're going to see...
traducir rapidito.
Ay, perdón, sí.
¿Podemos regresar una diapositiva, por favor? Can we scroll back? Yeah, perfect, gracias. Entonces, esta artista, Manuela González, es una joven artista que compartió esta obra de arte con el museo y su inspiración fueron los quilts que ella solía hacer con su mamá y con su abuela. Otra vez esta idea de juntarse, de hacer un trabajo comunitario. Y Julia nos cuenta que por lo general los quilts están hechos de textil. Y textil es una manera de describir cualquier tipo de tela. Una tela que puede ser de cualquier tipo de material, hilo como el lino, el algodón, la seda. Y algo, Julia, que a mí me gusta de los quilts es que a veces los podemos hacer de retazos. Y retazos es lo que sobra de tela cuando hiciste otra cosa, cuando hiciste tu blusa y te sobraron pedacitos que no sirven para nada. En vez de tirarlos, puedes usarlos para hacer tu quilt.
That's right. Carolina's reminding us that quilts can be made out of recycled items, which gives us a clue about our takeaway. But we're going to keep that surprise for a little bit later on. So the next slide, we're just going to look at for a minute. And what do we notice here? Emma, can you see this slide? Do you see the kids holding up a quilt that they made together?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then next to that is a picture of someone who took a quilt and they hung it up outside for decoration. Those are
muchos colores. Yo observo muchos colores.
And Carolina, I also saw different shapes. That's what's so interesting about quilts. It's different colors, different shapes. Sometimes it's symmetrical, which means it's similar on both sides. And sometimes it's just beautiful shapes put together.
Sí, a veces tenemos muchas formas diferentes, a veces son simétricas, a veces no, pero siempre hay cierto tipo de geometría.
And it's kind of like us, right? We're all the same, and also we're all a little bit different. It's like people. I kind of like to compare quilts to people. We're unique in so many ways, but we're all the same at the same time. So sorry, in Spanish, yeah.
Julia dice que a veces ella siente que nosotros somos como quilts, podemos ser todos iguales por un lado, pero por el otro somos todos completamente diferentes.
So we're going to start reading our book. And today the book we're reading is called The Kindness Quilt by Nancy Elizabeth Wallace.
Hoy vamos a leer un libro que se llama El Quilt de la Bondad por Nancy Elizabeth Wallace.
And if you notice on the cover, the protagonist, which means the main character, she's holding square pieces of cloth.
Aquí en la portada podemos ver a la protagonista, es decir, a la persona más importante del libro, sosteniendo cuadrados de tela, tal vez para hacer su quilt.
Tal vez. One Friday at Sharing Circle, Mina helped Mrs. Bloom, her teacher, hold up a large green book. I love stories, Mina said. I do too, said Mrs. Bloom. I'm going to read you an Aesop fable.
Un viernes, compartiendo dentro del círculo, Mina ayudó a la señora Bloom a alzar un gran libro verde. Amo las historias, dijo Mina. Yo también, dijo la señora Bloom. Hoy les leeré una fábula de Aesop.
When the story ended, Mrs. Bloom asked, "What was the story about?" I know, said Minna. It's about kindness. Tyrone, her classmate, said, and it shows you can always be kind.
Cuando terminó el cuento, Mina se sentó. Luego la señora Bloom preguntó, ¿cuál fue la moral de la fábula? Yo sé, dijo Mina. Trata de la bondad. Y Tyrone dijo, sí, demuestra cómo podemos ser bondadosos.
Lindsay, another classmate, said, we should try to do something kind every day. Yes, said Mrs. Bloom, kindness is a good thing for all of us to practice. So let's celebrate kindness with a do and draw and share kindness project.
Lindsay dijo, deberíamos intentar hacer algo amable, algo bondadoso cada día. Sí, dijo la señora Bloom. Ser bondadoso es algo que debemos practicar y deberíamos celebrar la bondad con un ejercicio de hacer, dibujar, compartir que se llamará el proyecto de la bondad.
That night, Mina told Mom, Dad, and Pip, Mrs. Bloom wants us to do something kind and then make a picture about it and then take the picture into school to share. It's a kind of kindness project. That's a wonderful idea, said Mom. But, said Minna, I'm not sure what to do. We can help you with ideas, said Dad. So on Saturday morning, when Minna woke up, she read to Pip. Reading me books is a good idea for your kindness picture, said Pip. Minna nodded and said, okay, but I'm still thinking.
Esa noche Minna le contó a mamá, papá y a Pip. La señora Bloom quiere que hagamos algo bondadoso y luego hagamos una imagen acerca de eso y la llevemos a la escuela para compartir. Es algo así como un proyecto de la bondad. Una idea maravillosa, dijo mamá. Pero no estoy segura qué hacer, dijo Minna. Nosotros te podemos ayudar con ideas, dijo papá. El sábado en la mañana, Minna le leyó un libro a Pip. Leerme libros es una buena idea para tu imagen de bondad, Minna, dijo Pip. Minna asintió y dijo, sí, pero aún lo estoy pensando.
Before lunch, Minna went with Mom to the community cleanup day. Picking up litter in the park is being kind to our earth, said Mom. Minna nodded and said, yeah, but I'm still thinking. Later in the afternoon, Mina and Dad cooked creamy carrot soup for supper and took a big jar to her neighbors.
Antes del almuerzo, Mina acompañó a su mamá a un día de limpieza comunitaria. Recoger basura en los parques es ser amable con el planeta. Eso podría ser una imagen para tu proyecto de bondad, dijo mamá. Sí, dijo Mina, pero aún lo estoy pensando. Más tarde, Mina y papá hicieron crema de zanahoria para el almuerzo. Mina le llevó un gran recipiente de sopa a los vecinos.
That evening, Mina whispered to herself, kindness, kindness, kindness. There are lots of kinds of kindness. Dad brought her a snack and Pip brought her his new markers. And then Mina started writing and drawing and writing and drawing. And later on, Mom brought Mina scissors and more paper. Mina smiled, thanks, Mom, and started cutting.
Esa noche, Mina susurró, bondad, 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 bondad. Hay muchos tipos diferentes de bondad. Papá le trajo una botanita, Pip le trajo sus plumones nuevos y luego mamá entró a traer tijeras y papel. Mina sonrió y dijo, gracias, mamá, y empezó a recortar.
On Sunday afternoon, Mina looked at what she had written and drawn and cut out, and suddenly she knew what she wanted to do. She found her glue stick and got to work.
El domingo en la tarde, Mina miró lo que había escrito, dibujado y recortado. De repente, Mina supo lo que quería hacer. Encontró su pegamento y se puso a trabajar.
Before we switch to the next page, I just want to point out that what Mina did here, she wrote on the heart, kindness is, and then she shared all the different kind things she had done that weekend.
Exacto. Mina lo que hizo aquí es que en un corazoncito escribió, la bondad es, y luego en unos rectángulos, en unos cuadrados, escribió todas las cosas diferentes que hizo ese fin de semana que ella considera bondadoso, como compartir sopa, recoger basura, leer libros.
Yep. Okay, on the next page, let's find out what Mina does. On Monday, Mina took her artwork to school and she listened as Carrie, Tyrone, Kyle, and Lindsay shared pictures and their acts of kindness.
El lunes Mina llevó su obra de arte a la escuela. Escuchó como Carrie, Tyrone, Kyle y Lindsay compartieron sus imágenes mostrando actos de bondad.
When it was Mina's turn, she held up her artwork. Ooh, said the class. It looks like a beautiful quilt, said Lindsay. Wow, said Tyrone. If you want to, you can make yours look like a quilt too, said Mina.
Cuando era su turno, Mina mostró su obra de arte. ¡Oh!, dijo todo el salón. Parece un bello quilt, dijo Lindsay. ¡Wow!, dijo Tyrone. Si quieren, pueden hacer que su imagen también parezca un quilt, dijo Mina.
So everyone cut and glued and taped their acts of kindness together.
Recortaron, pegaron y luego unieron todos sus actos de bondad con cinta.
Mrs. Bloom hung the paper quilt on the small bulletin board.
La señora Bloom colgó el quilt en el pequeño tablero del salón.
As the days passed, more acts of kindness happened. Maya sent a card. Esteban helped his neighbor. Aman held the door open. Dave took care of Noodles. And the kindness quilt grew and grew until it overflowed the small bulletin board.
Conforme pasaron los días, más actos de bondad sucedieron. Maya envió una postal, Esteban ayudó a su vecino, Amán ayudó abriendo la puerta, Dave se encargó de fideos, su pescado, y así el quilt de la bondad fue creciendo hasta que inundó el pequeño tablero del salón.
Mrs. Bloom and the children had to move it to the big bulletin board.
La señora Bloom y su salón tuvieron que moverlo a un tablero más grande.
Mr. Cooper helped them hang the quilt on the long wall in the hallway.
Luego, cuando siguió creciendo, el señor Cooper les ayudó a colgar el quilt en una gran pared en el pasillo.
You see how it's growing and growing, and soon other classes joined in, like Mr. Graciano's 4th grade class joined in.
Pronto otros salones se unieron.
And the kindness kept growing and growing and growing and growing.
Y la bondad siguió creciendo, creciendo y creciendo. Tan tan.
Dun, dun. So you see how everyone kept adding and adding, and it grew bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger? That's what we were telling you about quilts. Everybody adds a little piece and it just grows into this beautiful project.
Entonces los quilts son como este proyecto. Mucha gente va uniendo y todo va creciendo, creciendo, creciendo. Y así es la bondad. Si todos somos un poco bondadosos, la bondad va creciendo y se va a hacer gigante.
So we just saw the artwork of Manuela González, and that she made as a tribute to her family. So that means she made for her family, thinking of them. And then we read the book about Mrs. Bloom's class making a kindness quilt. And then now we want to tell you about our takeaway. But I'll let Carolina translate before I move on.
Exacto, entonces ya hablamos de dos tipos de quilt, el quilt de Manuela que lo hizo en honor a su familia, pensando en su familia, y también leímos una historia sobre el quilt de Mina. Y ahora Julia nos va a explicar de qué va a tratar nuestro proyecto.
So today we're going to send to your grown-ups email our takeaway, and it's for a quilt that you can make at home with members of your family or friends, other loved ones. And I'm going to hold the one, you can see it on the screen, but I'm holding up the one I made. It's the same one. And what we did is we got pieces of paper and pencils, glue sticks and scissors, and everyone in my family, they made a picture of an animal that they like, and they put their name and their birth date. And then here's another name and a birth date. And they created a quilt pattern. Remember, we talked about the different patterns? So we made...
Entonces, Julia nos cuenta que ella hizo un quilt con su familia. Esa es la comunidad con la que ella creó ese quilt. El quilt dice, My Family Quilt, el quilt de mi familia. Entonces, cada persona en su familia hizo una parte creando un patrón en el fondo, un patrón similar al de un quilt. Y luego pusieron una ficha con su nombre, con un símbolo, un animal que los representa y su fecha de nacimiento o una fecha que es muy especial para ellos.
Yes, like Carolina was just saying, we also I put in on the date that I got married. You can see it right here. And I put lots of hearts, and I put 2 wedding rings. But you guys can do anything. You can create a pattern in the background and then do your favorite activity. You can use scraps of fabric, or I only used paper. Anything that you can find in your house, you can make this with, and we'll send you the directions.
Exacto. Entonces, Julia nos cuenta que ella, por ejemplo, hizo una ficha que dice el día en el que ella se casó, porque esa fecha es importante para su familia. Y esto es un quilt de su familia. Pero tú puedes hacer un quilt de cualquier cosa. Podrías hacer un quilt, maybe con tus primos, en el que cada quien dice cuál es su juguete favorito. Podrías hacer un quilt con todas las mujeres de tu comunidad, que es sobre el empoderamiento femenino. Podrías hacer un quilt sobre la naturaleza. El quilt puede tener cualquier tema que ustedes decidan.
Or Carolina, I just thought you could also do a kindness quilt. You can draw some kindness thing that you did for someone you love.
Exacto. O pueden hacer, como en la historia que leímos, un quilt sobre la bondad.
So now is the time where we get to sing our Coquí song in español.
Exacto, entonces les vamos a dar las gracias en este punto porque vamos a cantar nuestra canción y luego nos vamos a quedar sin el mute para decirnos adiós, así que muchas gracias por venir, la pasamos muy bien. Para información sobre las próximas clases, visítenos en elmuseo.org. Si quieren compartir sus obras de artes en medios sociales, recuerden que pueden usar nuestros hashtags, el hashtag Coquí Club o el hashtag el Museo en Tu Casa.
So we would love, Carolina and I would love to see any quilts that you make, and you can ask your grown-up to put it on Instagram, Facebook, on Snapchat, and you can use the hashtag Coquí Club or a hashtag El Museo en Tu Casa, and tell your grown-ups to check the website for the next Coquí Club. And we want to thank you all for coming and for sharing and for joining us. We love seeing all your beautiful faces.
Absolutely.
And your stuffed animals. We like seeing your stuffed animals too.
Yeah. All right. So, vamos a cantar en español. Vamos a quitarnos todos el mute para cantar. Vamos a cantar a la cuenta de 1, 2 y 3.
El coquí es muy lindo del coquí. Por las noches a veces me duermo con el dulce cantar del coquí. Coquí, coquí,
Out of your mouth.
coquí, 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 coquí.
Muy bien, gracias por
Muy
venir.
bien, thank you.
Adiós, adiós, adiós.